This conference will now be recorded.
So today we're going to discuss about this groups concept, which is related to both Rama, and this much of content we're discussing what is what exactly. So now we will start the basic thing. So what is the reason to go for groups? Okay, this all these basic things we will discuss, and if time permits, even we will go for practical as well, because this is a completely theory part. So what is class? What is an object? These all these things we'll discuss. So still, if you're having time, if we are having a time, we'll go for further. Okay. So first of all, why we need OOPS? Nothing but object orientation. Okay. Let me discuss this concept now. OOPS. First of all, to design any enterprise application, we have to use a particular programming language. Before selecting a particular programming language, first we have to select a particular type of programming language. First of all, we need to select a particular type of programming language. Here, enterprise application is nothing but a web application. So, what is exactly web application? Application which is having a client server architecture. Okay, if you want to design some client server architecture, these type of applications, right? So, first of all, we need to select a programming language. So enterprise application is not a web application. What is exact web application means? Client server architecture. Example is if you go with Google, Amazon.com, these are the enterprise applications. Because they're having they will follow client server architecture. Okay. So if you want to design these type of applications, okay, we are having so many programming languages in software market, but we need to design a particular programming language. So where we need to get the performance, or where we need to get the security, and it has to be integrated with n number of technologies. So these couple of things we need to check it, and we need to design, we need to select the programming language. Okay, so that thing now we are discussing. So now there are four types of programming languages. One is unstructured programming languages. Second one is structured programming languages, and the third one is object oriented programming languages, and fourth one is aspect oriented programming languages. Okay, unstructured programming languages, structured programming languages, object oriented programming languages, and one more thing is aspect oriented programming languages. Okay, so we're discussing mainly why we are going this OOPS, but object oriented programming languages. So before this object oriented, we're having some more programming languages. So definitely we are facing some limitations from these programming languages. That is the reason we are going for object oriented programming languages. Okay, then nothing but OOPS. So first of all, we'll discuss this unstructured and structured. So then we'll discuss object oriented as well. Okay. Let me discuss first thing is unstructured. Unstructured programming languages. So first of all, these programming languages are outdated programming languages. They are introduced at the beginning stages of computers. Example, basic. Basic is one of the programming languages, and Fortran. Maybe you heard this Fortran. First, comparative programming languages. Okay. And second point, unstructured programming languages are not following any structure to design applications. It is not suggestible in application development. Okay, now student, application development. And third one, unstructured programming languages are using mnemonic codes like add, sub, mul, div, go to, so many things. Okay, to design applications. Basically, mnemonic codes are available in very less number, and which may provide very less number of features to design applications. Okay, so if you observe this point, unstructured programming are using mnemonic codes. So for suppose if you're going with either C, C++, Java, so if you want to perform some addition, right? Now we are defining, first of all, we need to define some int type of variables, two int type of variables, and we need to perform plus operator. So which is going to perform addition, right? But if you go with this unstructured programming languages, they're using this type of mnemonic codes if you want to perform some operations between numbers. Okay, so which is somewhat difficult to the end user to design any programming language. Okay, unstructured programming languages are using only go to statement to define flow of execution. Okay, so only go to statement is not sufficient to define flow of execution. To define flow of execution. So here, if you observe this go to statement, generally, if you observe C, C++, Java, if you want to define some conditions, right? We are going with if else, or if else if else. So we're having some conditions like if, for loop, and while loop, do while, these types of some conditional statements we're having if you observe. But here, if you want to define some flow of execution, right? So here we're having a statement called as a go to in unstructured programming languages. Okay. And fifth one, unstructured programming languages are not following, are not allowing functions future. It may increase code redundancy. Code redundancy means duplication. What am I using? Okay. So that whenever if you're having some duplicate code, so first of all, it will reduce code reusability, right? Code reusability. It is not suggestible in application development. It is not suggestible in application development. Okay, these are the points which comes under unstructured programming languages. Okay, so most of you are not aware of these programming languages. Okay, but initial, whenever this just software coming to picture, whenever the software I mean, if you want to design some enterprise application, so basically they're using initial, very initial stage of software applications, they're using this type of programming languages. Because whenever if you're going with some technology, so whether whatever technology we're having currently, so every technology definitely is having some limitations. Okay, so in order to overcome these limitations, they'll go with a new technology. So maybe if you're having some, sorry, if you're going with some JavaScript, or maybe some what we call jQuery, these technologies, front-end technologies. So if you observe this JavaScript, so first of all, so it is a completely complicated coding. So even if say a particular dot or comma is missed, we're unable to get the output. Okay, so based upon this thing, so they will introduce so many new technologies at front end, maybe some node.js, AngularJS, which is a AngularJS is currently booming, right? So this is a so many of technologies will come into picture whenever if you have some limitations. So JavaScript is a powerful scripting language, that is not, no, there is no doubt in that, but we are facing n number of limitations. Okay, so that is the reason so many technologies, I mean so many programming languages come into picture at front end, same way for at back end, or maybe some middleware technologies as well. Okay, so now let us discuss about structured programming languages as well.
This conference will now be recorded.
So next one is nothing but structured programming languages. Structured programming languages are very good when compared with unstructured programming languages, because these programming languages are not outdated programming languages which are in use at present application development. These programming languages are using high level high level syntaxes. these programming languages are using more number of flow of controllers, more number of flow of controllers to define very good flow of execution. To define very good flow of execution. These programming languages are using functions feature to improve code reusability. Okay, so here what are the limitations we are facing in unstructured? So most of the limitations we are installed in structured program languages. Okay, so structured programming languages are not good when compared with object-oriented programming languages, because one, modularity is not good in structured programming languages. Okay, modularity is not good in structured programming languages. Okay, and second one, abstraction. Abstraction is not good in structured programming languages. And third one, code reusability is not good in structured programming languages. Okay, and fourth one, security is not good with structured programming languages. So code reusability here we are achieving in structured, but still, for suppose if you go for 100%, maybe we can achieve some 40 to 50%. If you want to achieve some more percentage, maybe some 90%, more than 90%, so we need to go with object-oriented program language here. So in structured program languages, security is not good. Java is a more secure programming language when compared to any other program languages till now. Okay. So here modularity, so nothing but dividing the code into submodules. We don't have in structured program languages here. Okay, so abstraction concept is not there in structured programming languages. Okay, so these are the limitations what we are facing from structure. So in which these are the what we can say that these are the advantages what we are facing in OOPS. So here what are the limitations? These limitations is nothing but we are unable to overcome in structured programming languages. That is the reason we are going with object-oriented programming languages. Okay, or even we can say that one more limitation, it is a tightly coupled language. Okay, because if any programming language some code reusability feature is good means, so I mean, so duplication of code is not possible. So but if you go with a structured, so code reusability we're achieving but not 100%. So that is the reason we can say that it is a tightly coupled programming language as well to design any application. That is a one more limitation we can take it as. Okay, otherwise we can mention it as Structured programming languages are able to provide tightly coupled design for the applications. Okay. 3. Next one is object oriented programming languages. Okay. Object oriented program languages are very good when compared with structured program languages, because it will provide modularity, it will provide abstraction, it will provide security, it will provide code reusability, it will provide loosely coupled design. Okay, these are the things. It will provide modularity, it will provide abstraction, security, code reusability, and loosely coupled design. So what are the limitations we are facing in structure? These limitations we are overcoming in object oriented programming languages. Okay. Object oriented programming languages are not good when compared with aspect oriented programming languages, because it will not provide very good shareability. Okay. It will not provide very good reusability. It will not provide very good loosely coupled design. Okay, still in object oriented programming language also still we're having some limitation. Means these things we're achieving but not 100%. Okay, just we can say that it is 90% above. But if you want to achieve 100%, right, we are going with aspect oriented programming languages. But still, so we can say that based upon OOPS, right, we're having some Java, .NET. Okay, so many programming languages exist based upon OOPS concept. Okay, but till now in aspect oriented programming language. So based upon this, we don't have some programming language exist till now. Okay, so only it is providing some advantages, but based upon that we don't have any programming language exist. But based upon OOPS, we're having so many programming languages. So like Java, which is always followed by OOPS programming language. I mean, which is always followed by OOPS, and .NET is going to follow OOPS. Okay, most of the, so even if you go with Scala, Python, so they need to follow with these OOPS concepts only. Okay, which is upcoming programming languages. So aspect oriented programming languages. If we design any enterprise application on the basis of object oriented, then we have to provide services like authentication, authorization, validation, logging, along with business logic in combined manner. Okay, it will make compilation, debugging, testing, all the pre-processings are difficult. All the pre-processings are difficult. Okay, so to overcome the above problem, right, we have to apply aspect orientation on enterprise application. Okay, in the case of aspect orientation, we have to separate all the services logic from business logic. Okay, we have to declare each and every service as an aspect, and we have to inject these services to the enterprise application at a runtime. Okay, so here, to overcome the above problem, we have to apply aspect orientation on enterprise applications, nothing but web application. Okay, in the case of aspect orientation, we have to separate all the services logic from business logic. Okay, so in real time, how this for suppose if you want to design a web application, so what are the different layers, so which I'm going to discuss. Maybe you are not able to get this point, what is exactly, so I will explain you with a diagram. So in real time, what are the layers we're having, so that you're going to get complete knowledge. Now give me some time. Okay, So in enterprise application development, aspect orientation will provide loosely coupled design, more shareability and more reusability. Okay, so note point, aspect oriented programming language is terminology. No programming language. Okay, no programming language is defined on the basis of aspect orientation. Aspect orientation is a methodology. It is a set of rules and regulation applied on object-oriented programming language. Okay, so this point I already discussed with you. So based upon this programming language, so till now we don't have so a programming language exist. Okay, based upon AOP. But I mean, if you observe, if you're having some knowledge on Spring, okay, if you're having some knowledge on Spring, so we're having within the Spring we're having a module called AOP, Aspect Oriented Programming. Okay, so if you observe these programming languages, so highly advanced programming language is nothing but aspect oriented programming language, but based upon this AOP, so we don't have any programming language exist till now in our software market. But if you know, if you have good knowledge on Spring, okay, so Spring is having a couple of modules, nothing but Spring MVC, Spring JDBC, Spring AOP, Spring Boot, okay, Spring microservices, Spring RESTful, Spring security. So many modules is there in Spring point of view. So out of that, we are having one module called as a AOP. But most of the companies, so most of the companies they will not go with AOP. So basically they're following with Spring MVC and Spring Security and nowadays Spring Boot as well. But some companies they are still following Spring AOP module as well. Okay, so there we can achieve this AOP, but it is not a programming, it is a completely framework. Based upon AOP, we don't have programming language, but based upon AOP, Spring framework is exist. So that is the reason they're calling as a Spring framework. Spring is a lightweight framework and a loosely coupled framework. Why they're calling is they're following with AOP. That framework itself they're following AOP. So once if you implement AOP module in a Spring framework or is in a Spring web application, right? So we will achieve a loosely coupled and as well as a we can achieve this authentication authorization services. So many things we can achieve by using AOP. Okay. So now let me explain you some architecture. So how we are implementing in real time whenever if you want to design a web application, so that you're going to get some more knowledge on these points. Okay. So let me explain some architecture. So if you want to design any web applications, okay, by using Java programming language. So compulsory they need to follow this type of architecture or this type of design. If you're going with a Spring or Struts or a Wicked framework, any framework, we're having so many frameworks in Java point of view. Okay, so let me explain that architecture so that you're going to get some more information. So this is a simple architecture. So even I have not included the server. So server is also part of the architecture. Okay, but whenever if you are designing any Java application, so what is the basic flow? Okay, this is the basic flow. So even if you are working on Java, if you are a first time if you are working on Java framework, I mean Java framework means either Spring or Struts or JS or different frameworks, what the frameworks we're having. So first of all, we need to identify this flow. So how the values are saving to database, and once the values are saved, how the values are again retrieved and displayed to the front end. Okay, so this page generally, if you observe the Java point of view, calling as a .jsp. And within the JSP, they are including so many technologies like HTML, uh, CSS, okay, JS, so jQuery, so many things. Depends upon you, okay? Depends upon the requirement. So here, let me explain this flow. So once if we given some values for each and every field, I mean name, email, and password. Once if we click on the submit, so these values, first of all, it will go to controller, will go to service, and it will control to DAO. So from by using this DAO layer, so this application is going to communicate to database, and finally this values is going to save. And what are the values it is saved? Same way it is going to retrieve and display to the front end. And here, what is the importance of DTO? And even within this OOPS concept, where I mean somewhere we are discussing about containers methods. Somewhere I think here we're discussing concept called as a Java bean. Okay, so this Java bean in real time they're calling as a DTO, nothing but a data transfer object, which is a very important concept. Okay, so here we are defining some variables. So means, so this is my a front end, we can take it as a front end page. Okay, so where I need to I mean once we given some values, once we click on the submit, these values I need to save. But here whatever the name, so for suppose if you observe any HTML page, okay, see here. So here I'm giving some here input type is equal to text, okay, some name as email and required. Okay, so if you observe here name, so here whatever the value, so here I'm defining value as an email. Here I'm defining email name as a PSW, nothing but a password. So the same value here we need to define in this .java file. Here D2 is nothing but a .java file only. Within the .java file, so how we need to define here? So nothing but here a string and name I have defined. So here it is an email, right? So I have defined some name. So the same value here I need to define in this .html file or .jsp file. So same way email string email. So here whatever the name we are defining, the same name we need to provide respect to .html or .jsp file. Okay, and string password, string pass I have given. Okay, same way here once if we got this .html file or .jsp, this is the respective format what we are having. Okay, so same value we need to define in this DTO, so that these values it is going to transfer from this front end to back end by using a mediator component called as a Java bean. So what are the values which are defining, or what are the variable names we are defining, the same names we need to define this .jsp or HTML pages. Okay, so just I will show you some my.
This conference will now be recorded.
So I have this architecture and whatever thing which we discussed, I mean Spring Boot basic application. So it is fine for you. So let us discuss the further concept. Okay, object oriented features. Okay, so to expose the nature of object orientation or oriented object orientation has provided the following features. Okay, so that is, one is class, and one more thing is object, and third one is encapsulation, fourth one is abstraction, fifth one is inheritance, and the sixth one is polymorphism, and seventh one is message passing. Okay, nothing but these are the OOPS concepts, what we are calling exactly. So one is class, object, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, message passing. So these are the same, I mean, what are the features we are discussing, object oriented features or OOPS concept. It is same for even if you're going with Scala or Python. Okay, they are also following the OOPS concept. Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
So on the basis of above object oriented features, there are two types of programming languages. So one is object oriented programming languages, and second one is object based programming languages. Okay, so here what is the difference between object oriented programming languages and object based programming languages? Okay, what is the difference between object oriented programming languages and object based programming languages? Okay, so first one, concept. Object oriented programming languages will allow almost all the object oriented features, including inheritance. Okay, so example is Java, and if it comes under object based programming languages, object based programming languages will all the allow all almost object oriented features, excluding inheritance. Okay, that is, example is JavaScript. Okay, simple. If you observe object oriented and object based, so if it comes under object oriented programming languages, it follow all the object oriented features. What are the features which I mentioned here? So just it will follow even including inheritance, then nothing but object oriented programming languages. So if it goes under object based programming languages, so it will follow all the features excluding inheritance. Best example is JavaScript. Okay, so there is nothing but difference between object oriented and object based programming languages. Okay, So now we are going to get a complete picture. What is exactly class and object? Okay, what is the difference between class and object? Difference between class and object. Okay. So first one, class is a group of elements having similar properties and behaviors. Okay, class is a group of elements having similar properties and behaviors. What about object? Object is an individual element among the group of elements having physical identity, physical properties, and physical behaviors. Okay, so here once if we create a class, so almost each and every class is having a properties and behaviors, nothing but a variables and methods. But once if we create an object for a particular class, okay, object, it is a physical existence will be there. So class, it can't be a, now what we can say that once if we define a class, so if you are not, when whenever if you're creating a class, how the class is utilized is whenever we are creating an object, then only that a particular class can be utilized. Okay, so simply you can say that class is a virtual, object is a physical. So whatever is seeing, I think, but what we are calling as an object. Okay, and once we create a object for a particular class, class is having a, I mean object, for suppose if we're creating a 2 to 3 objects for a particular class, each and every object is having a unique identity will be there. So how to get a unique identity we will discuss in programming practical, that is later in within the OOPS concept only. And each and every object is having a their own variables and methods that going to exist physically. So how to get a physical identity for a particular object, even though if you're creating n number of objects for a particular class, each and every object is a unique. That thing we're going to discuss later. Okay, I mean how to get these things. This is the first point. And second one, this thing is I have defined already. Class is virtual, which you are not able to see, and object is a physical. Okay, and third one, class is visual encapsulation of properties and behaviors. Okay, and object is physical encapsulation of properties and behaviors. Okay, class is generalization, object is specialization. Class is a model or blueprint for the objects, but object is an instance of the class. Instance means object, creating an object. Instance of the class. Okay, there's nothing but what is the difference between class and object. Okay, so just need to get only one thing is class is virtual, object is physical. And one more, a small example is you're going to get some knowledge on this. For suppose here I'm having some mobile. Okay, so what are the different mobiles we're having? So now here we're having some iPhone, Samsung, Redmi, some Oppo, so many things, right? So anybody can answer this question. So here, what is a class and what is an object? All of you. Here, what is a class and what is an object?
Mobile is a class, and iPhone or Samsung, Redmi, Apple, or
Yes. Here, this mobile is nothing but a class, and this iPhone, Samsung, whatever the feature I mentioned, that is nothing but a object here. So here, mobile we are not able to see. Okay, but generally we're calling iPhone as a mobile, Samsung as a mobile. So what are the thing which we are seeing that comes under object, and this group of brands they're commonly named called as a mobile, which is a class which we are not seeing, but most of the thing they feel that mobile is a object, but mobile is not a object. Mobile is a class which we are not seeing nothing but a class, and which we are seeing physically nothing but what is exactly an object. Okay, so is this fine till now? What are the concepts we have discussed?